Hi everybody, this is Red with RedDragonLeo.com, and finally, just when I'm ready to throw in the towel, market sells off. Thank goodness. I was starting to lose hope there. I'd been calling for it to be lower the entire week, and it's looking like we're going to get that. As you can see here on the weekly chart, we now have a nice long topping tail, which was a big solid white bar up at one point, and now it's looking like a topping tail, which is fantastic. But again, I'm not sure about next week yet. It's really going to depend on what tomorrow does. You know, there is a possibility we could put this topping tail in this week, and it could be comparably to this one here, and they could trick us, and next week they could push it up one more time and reclaim this top and do what they did here, just to trick all the bears. It is still very possible. As you can see, it is, you know, up here above the 80 line and looking like it's ready to roll over, but no guarantee that it's not going to do one of these numbers and take a little while, take its time to do it, instead of just falling off a cliff. Now, I definitely think we are going down, but I just want to throw that out there. You know, it is possible because this is still pointing up. This has still got a higher bar today, you know, this week than last week. So that is still a possibility. But for now, you know, it's looking great for the bears. That doesn't mean I'd be going hog wild shorting over the weekend, because the charts are pretty oversold on the shorter time frames. And, you know, and I'm getting ready to show you that here in a second. But so the weekly is not rolled over yet, so it's not putting tremendous downward pressure on the market yet. So when it does start to really roll down, you know, then we can really heavily get aggressive on the short side. But for now, let's you know, play a little caution here, because we just don't know if it's going to go up here, this 1160 to 1170 everybody's calling for. I don't know. I don't think it's going to. I think we're done, but you know, we'll see. As you can see here on the daily chart, it's a little covered up. Let's look at Cobra's chart here on the daily SPY. This is a very, very bearish candle. As you can see, at one point it was all the way up here. It had gapped down, rallied up, and killed a bunch of bears, and then fell off a cliff and hit our fake print that we had of 112.44, I believe is what it was, the fake print. And so we hit it and then went back up just a little bit into the close. And so but we are obviously not oversold on the daily. You know, we are still pointing down, which is great, but that doesn't mean it can't have a pause day tomorrow. And that's kind of what I'm looking for, unless something really out of the ordinary comes up tomorrow. I'm not looking for it to fall off a cliff tomorrow. Now, don't get me wrong, if it does, I'm a happy bear, but all we got coming out tomorrow is durable orders for transportation at 8:30 and new home sales. So I don't know how much they're going to move the market. Depends on how bad they are, I guess. And boy, this is looking bad here over on Cobra's chart, the Shanghai index. Look at this. Is that a bear flag or what? Look at that, folks. That looks like that is ready to fall off a cliff there, and that's the daily chart. So wow, that's just amazing. So the VIX, of course, has broken out to the upside and put in a very bullish candle here. It fell all the way down and retraced it all the way back up, just the opposite of what the SPY did, and is going up here and is not overbought yet. So you know, it's definitely looking good for the bears. But looking here on this 15-minute chart, we come down here and we did hit some support right here. So we have to respect that. We hit our fake print early in the morning that we had from a few days back of 112.52. And then we got an intraday fake print about right here at this time point I spotted an intraday fake print that I posted on the blog, and it was for 112.44, and sure enough, boom, if you'd have got short when you seen that fake print, you'd have captured all this move down as it sold off and hit that print. It passed it a little bit too, and that's sometimes what happens when the momentum gets going to the downside or the upside. Either one, it'll pass it. So anyway, looking here, you can see we're oversold on the stochastics. We are oversold here on the MACD. This is all again on the 15-minute chart, and we're oversold here on the shorter time frame on the MACD moving average lines and the histogram tower bars. So they're both oversold. The longer time frames, 65, 90, and 12, as you can see right over here, says 65, 90, and 12 as compared to the shorter time frames, 12, 26, and 9. So on the longer time frames, we're not oversold yet. This could well go below zero. Sorry, a little tongue-tied there. So it can go below zero, of course, but it doesn't mean it can't just kind of go a little bit sideways tomorrow as this thing tries to move up a little bit, maybe get into up close to the zero mark, put in a very, very small tower if it does, any at all. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it and see exactly as this thing rolls up tomorrow. And this all assumes that the economic data that's out tomorrow, that's released, isn't too horrible. If it's in line with expectations, and I'd expect kind of a flat day, basically close about where we're at. Remember, this is a options expiration for the weeklies. So I know a lot of people don't realize that, but it's the weekly options expiration, not the monthlies. So they are going to try to pin the SPY at a level that benefits them. So I'm sure they're going to control the economic data that's released, and it's up to them. If they want it at a low level, then they'll put out some bad data and tank it. If they don't, if they just want to kind of close it out about where it's at, maybe around the I don't know, if you close it right around this area, that's about the 112.50 on the SPY, because this is 11.25. So, or maybe they go up here to the 113 level, which would be 11.30 here on this. So maybe they back trace a little bit. So it's really, you're going to have to keep an eye on this and see how much momentum they get going to the upside, because this 15-minute chart is definitely oversold on the shorter time frames. Only on this longer time frame here is it not oversold and still can go well below zero. So if this thing trades sideways for the first few hours and puts in a bear flag, that thing's going to sell off into the close. You can almost bet your money on that. It'll sell off. If it starts moving up and gets a decent little rally going on light volume with no major economic data, then it'll probably float up and probably hit some resistance here. Right here where this trend line is. Look for this trend line. Draw yourself a line right here, connecting these lows or these highs right here. Go over top this. Just draw a line right here to here to here, and that puts you at about 11.35, which is also right in this range as well. So anywhere between 11.30 and 11.35. I wouldn't expect it to go over that, and it's also this moving average line here, which is the 200 on the 15. So let's see how that compares on the 60. As you can see, the 60 is definitely oversold here on the shorter time frames on the histogram tower, 12, 26, and 9. The shorter time frames, it's quite a bit oversold. But the fact that the moving averages are still well above the zero and just now approaching and hitting the zero and getting ready to go negative tells you that this thing could go down here to -5 or even down here to -10. That would be tremendously oversold. But so that is possible that it could do that. But we are still pointing down on this, and this stochastics is oversold, but can stay oversold for a long period of time. It can stay in this 20 area until this thing goes all the way down and starts to hook back up. So you got to look for the larger time frames to see if the larger time frames are going to support the 60 continuing to sell off? And that is the question. So on the 15, as you can see, we should cycle back up. On the 60, from here to here, if you can see past this word says 2 minor, draw you a line there that is kind of a positive divergence as it's going up. But that doesn't mean it can't just continue down. So, you know, it can make a positive divergence as the price falls. That's what they're called. They're going in opposite directions, you know. So that's why they call it that. Or negative divergence would be the opposite. So, and then here on the daily is the key. The daily, as you can see, is definitely losing momentum and rolling over. But let's look where it's at. It hit and closed right on the 10-day EMA. The 10-day EMA here is 11/24/03, and then the 20 is, you know, 11/12/16. So so it should find some support there. And again, unless there's some really bad housing numbers or something, housing starts for tomorrow, the economic data or some other economic data. So assuming that the day is light, you should look for kind of a pause day tomorrow, slightly up is what I'm expecting. It's certainly in the morning, we're going to look for that. But again, if this thing chops sideways all day long around this 11:25 area and does not work its way up here towards 11:30, if it chops sideways, that is very bearish, and that is a bear flag, and that thing will fall into the close, because this is on the 15-minute chart. So if it kind of works its way up here and goes here and just barely puts a little tower above zero, or maybe not one at all, and the entire time that it's doing that, working off the oversold conditions, this thing is just chopping sideways, yeah, look for a sell-off into the close. That's what I'd say. So that on this chart, it would be the same thing, just sideways consolidation. So you do kind of really want to see it go up a little bit and work off this oversold condition, and then so that Monday could maybe go up and maybe do a back test here, if it can get that high. I don't know. We're not going to look that far ahead yet, but you know, we're going to have to see. You know, I don't know yet. Depends on how strong this move is. You know, like I said, it could go up to the 160 or 1160 and 1170. I don't think it is. I think it's done. Okay, but let's look at the because we looked at the weekly. Okay, so I showed you that. Monthly is not done yet, so this could put in a topping tail. No point really going over that yet. Looking at the 30-minute, you can see kind of the same thing on it. It is pretty oversold here. On the 30-minute, we're buried here. We're going down on the stochastic, so we could continue down. And we're kind of buried here on this as well. We're -2. Of course, it's been up to +6, so we could go down to -6, I guess, if we wanted to. But again, you know, it's all about the data. If this support holds, there's a lot of support here. I mean, look how many days they did this entire week, folks. This entire week. It's going to take a lot to break through that if there's no catalyst. They need a catalyst to bust through it. So, you know, don't necessarily expect this thing to just fall off a cliff after it put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of that crap. That's a lot of support. So I would expect it to come up here a little bit. Looking at the 5-minute chart, look at this. I mean, it's massively oversold on the 5-minute chart. So again, it's looking to come up. It's hit this support. It came up a little bit. It hit that fake print. So it's looking to roll up. So, you know, here's the daily. The daily is definitely hooking over. So I don't expect a lot, but I'd like to see it maybe put in a positive day, so that, and then maybe Monday go up and put in a topping tail and give us a shot to get short again. That'd be really great if it did that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for, is a move up in the morning. If we can get to 11:30 and stay around that area, 11:30, 11:35, then it'll probably be okay, and that should be it. If it chops sideways, then look for a sell-off until the close. All right, that's it, gang. Good luck to everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.